Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Top 10 Trends in Wholesale Banking and Payments 2021, From Disruption to Growth, presented by IT Group's Wholesale Banking and Payments practice, which is led by Research Director Christine Barry. I'm Siobhan Scanlon, and I'll be one of your IT Group hosts. We'll be starting shortly, but first just let me take care of a few housekeeping items. The webinar will be recorded, and a link to view the recording on demand will be available to all current IT Group clients of our wholesale banking and payments practice. We'll be taking questions at the end of the webinar, so please feel free to submit your questions using the questions feature located in the GoToWebinar toolbar to the right of your screen. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's speakers. Our main host and first presenter is Christine Barry, Research Director of our Wholesale Banking and Payments practice, where she focuses on the strategies and technology implementations of global banks of all sizes. Her recent research has addressed global cash management trends and technologies, capturing the valuable small business customer, corporate mobile banking, the drivers of global core banking system replacement, remote deposit capture, and best practices for community banks and credit unions. Joining Christine, we have an expert lineup of senior analysts, including Erica Bowman, David O'Connell, Enrico Cameronelli, Giles Eubanks, and David Bannister. So without further ado, I'll now turn the mic over to Christine. Thank you again for joining us, and enjoy today's webinar.
Thank you, Siobhan, and hello, everyone, and welcome to our first webinar of the year. This is always the webinar that helps us to set the stage for what we believe is going to shape the industry over the coming year. As Siobhan mentioned, my name is Christine Barry, and I head up our Wholesale Banking and Payments team. I hope you and your colleagues and your families are all remaining healthy during these very challenging and difficult times. To say 2020 was a challenging year is probably the biggest possible understatement. We've seen the loss of so many lives to the pandemic, and a lot of businesses have been forced to basically transform their operating models overnight simply to survive. But despite the many unplanned for challenges that the industry has faced over the last several months, I continue to believe that once this pandemic is fully behind us, the industry will be much stronger as a result. And we're already seeing signs of that. We're seeing significant rises in electronic payments and transactions. We're seeing higher levels of automation in general across both corporate and business banking. Banks and their IT infrastructures have certainly been put to the test as the environment has really required very high levels of agility, resilience, and innovation. Now, some banks certainly have had an easier go at it than others, but we're seeing clear differences between those banks that had been making the right technology investments all along and those that had been slower to do so. When I think about some of the key trends that we're seeing or key themes for the industry, some of the words that come to mind include speed, automation, consolidation, flexibility, and access to information and insights. And those are going to continue to remain very critical when it comes to a bank's ability to acquire customers. And it's also going to drive the continued investment across the industry. In many ways, while the pandemic created challenges, the environment also has lit the necessary fire to move some of those nice-to-have initiatives that have been sitting on the back burners for a couple of years right to the forefront. This slide lists the 10 trends that we as a team believe will be shaping the industry this year, and we'll be walking you through each one of them at a somewhat high level. And